Embodiment is clarifying the person you want to be, the energy you want to emit and attract. So if your energy is up here and you're having an energetic exchange, you're emitting amazing stuff into the world and you're attracting back amazing stuff to you, okay? If you're down here in the sludge and you're like, oh, woe is me, nothing ever goes my way, and I hate this and I hate that, that's the shit you're putting in the world. That's the shit that's going to come back to you. Hey witches, welcome to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy, a magical living podcast for the busy witch. I'm Morgan, eclectic witch of almost 25 years, Avalon priestess, and busy witch. Here we'll talk all things witchy, from current metaphysical happenings to my busy witch tips and tricks, and everything in the in-between. This podcast is my personal journey, filled with my knowledge, opinions, and unique way of looking at the world. Join me as I weave the magical and the mundane in every episode. Witches, welcome back to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy. I'm Morgan, and happy 2026. So all of my previous episodes, or at least for the last couple of weeks, were recorded in 2025. But, well, I mean, I know because they came out in 2025, but like really into 2025. So at the end of 2025, I took a trip out east to my sister's for Christmas. And let me tell you, 2025 tried to end me right at the end. It tried to end me. And then 2026, the beginning of it, like the very beginning of it, also tried to end me. It had me crying in a puddle on the floor. Okay. So what all of that did was brought to the forefront my word of the year, which if you listen to Two Witches Talking, which is my other podcast with Megan Winkler, we shared our words of the year back in December. So it was something that I had to come up with probably beginning to middle of December. And it was a word that I had chosen for a couple of reasons, which I will share with you all today. But my word of the year is embodiment. Okay. And that's actually one of them. I've come to realize just in the last 2 weeks of December and the first week of January that I also have a word of rebirth, but I'm not going to go as much into that because that is like what I'm living at the moment. Embodiment is the word that I chose. So today's episode, I'm going to talk about what embodiment is, what it does for your magic and your life, and what it means to me, okay? And how to do it, how to be embodiment, how to embody energy, all right? So 2025, just a quick recap, because I know that you all do love my stories. Thank you for the feedback and everything. And please excuse me if I have to do that a lot. The end of 2025, the day before we were supposed to leave North Carolina. So we left on Saturday, December 20th, and we drove. My husband and I both hate flying. We decided to make this an adventure, like a week-long adventure. So it takes 3 days of driving 11 to 12 hours a day to make it from Arizona to North Carolina, where my sister lives. And that's what we chose to do. So on the 20th, we left and we headed east and we took the southern route. So we went like Dallas we didn't go all the way down to like New Orleans, but we went through Shreveport, Louisiana, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, up through Atlanta, and kind of swung up into North Carolina through South Carolina. And then we got there the 22nd that night. We spent through Christmas, and then the morning of the 27th, which was 1 week later, so it was Saturday to Saturday, we left to drive back. And this time we chose to take the northern route. So we went through Nashville, Tennessee, Memphis, and then like Arkansas, Oklahoma, the very tip of Texas, and we dipped down through New Mexico. Okay. So the day before we left, so December 26th, I got sick. I woke up with a sore throat. That was about it, and some sinus issues. And my middle niece had also been sick for a couple of days. So that was the day before we left. The day that we left, December 27th, that was my worst day ever. I had a fever. I steadily just kept cold meds in me the entire time as we drove. That was our trip through the Tennessee mountains. So, which they're doing construction on that interstate that goes through the mountains. So we were literally at a standstill for a while. It was crazy. I don't really remember a lot of the first day because I was so sick. Well, apparently I then gave it to Colin. So that Sunday we got on the road again, but Colin started getting sick. And by Sunday night, he had an extremely high fever. We were in Amarillo, Texas for the second night. And he was coming down with it. So we tried to get it, as much sleep as possible, loaded ourselves up on meds, and made the trek home on Monday, the 29th. I'm still sick to this day. Like, we have gotten antibiotics in us for the last 4 or 5 days. Basically what the doctor said, because we didn't even go to the doctor for a week because we're like, we're fine, we got this. But the doctor said that he thinks, because we waited a week, it was kind of hard to say what it was because every test was going to pop negative. Doesn't matter. But he said, based on our symptoms, based on what he heard, he said it sounded like we started out with just a regular old cold that then turned into a sinus infection, which then was turning into bronchitis. But we got to it at the very beginning of it. So we got antibiotics in us, doing much better. But I literally lost my voice for about 3 days last week. Which means trying to record a podcast, trying to do anything. Like I in the last podcast episode, I launched the readings for 2026. My goal was to start them as soon as we got back on the 29th or 30th. I've not even been able to do that because I literally did not have a voice last week. So if I still sound a little raspy, that's what it is. So that's how my 2025 ended. And then 2026 started, and on January 3rd of 2026, we had a super full moon in Cancer, which means full moons illuminate shit you don't want to see, okay? Cancer means it's going to illuminate shit that causes emotion in you, so triggers you, okay? And with the energy of the 2025 into 2026, a lot of different types of energies are kind of coming together. And 2025 was a shedding year. Okay, with 2026 being a rebirth year. And for me, this all came to a head on the 3rd. I was trying to get some work done at my house because the 3rd was a Saturday. My printer just decided to die out of nowhere. It just stopped working and threw an error code that could not be cleared. I had a lot of stuff building up in me at the time, a lot of emotion, a lot of stuff, which is what the full moon in Cancer did. And I ended up ripping the printer apart with my own 2 hands. I would say I'm not proud of it, but look, it was very therapeutic. I've always wanted to go office space on a printer before, but I never have. To do it with my own bare hands was amazing. But as I'm doing this, I ended up falling after I was done. The tears, of course, started, and I ended up in the floor crying so much that my husband had heard everything going on. He let me go to town on the printer. He was like, I'm not going to mess with her. She's going through something right now. But then when he heard the banging and the slamming and the cussing stop, he then came in and was like he heard me crying, and I was hiding on the floor behind some furniture, just bawling, ugly crying, and he came in and he's like, "What's got you, girl?" He calls me girl. So he says, "What's got you?" And I was like, and I just started word vomiting everything in me, because what happens when you're that triggered by something? Like, was I pissed that my printer didn't work? Of course I was. Was I that pissed that my printer didn't work? No. And what it had done is brought up, you have to ask yourself, like, what is this emotion really telling me? Like, what is the bottom of this? And once I got down to the bottom of it, I basically told him I was just exhausted. And I started going over, like, not just physically, not from being sick, but there were certain aspects of my life where I was emotionally, mentally, physically exhausted to continue doing them anymore. And I expressed this in him, and I said I never wanted to admit this before. And I told him everything, and he completely understood. I will leave that, as something between me and my husband and my guides and my higher self. But it It did. The super full moon in Cancer did exactly what it was supposed to. It illuminated an area of my life that triggered me so that I would get down to the root cause of it. And then once you get down to the root cause of it, you have decisions to make. You can either accept it, you can just continue to live like that, or you can make changes, you know? So that's what I did. That's the core of all of that. Is it kept rolling around in my head, my word of the year, which was embodiment. It also popped into my head that I wanted rebirth to now be a part of this, of my journey for 2025 into 2026, because that's what I felt like I was doing. I felt like the sickness had ripped everything away from me and stripped me down to nothing, stripped me down to being so vulnerable physically, mentally, emotionally, to where I had to come to terms with certain things. So I felt like I was undergoing a rebirth at that moment, being stripped away of everything. So that Saturday and Sunday, which would have been January 3rd and 4th, I really went through, okay, if I'm going through a rebirth and my word of the year is embodiment, what does that truly mean to me? Okay. And following the battle I had with the printer and this complete meltdown, I did 5 things that weekend that embody the essence of embodiment. I hate using the word to describe the thing. And let me tell you, trying to find a definition of embodiment, I ran into the same thing, and I'm yelling at scholars everywhere. Do not use the word in the definition of the word. I learned that in like middle school English class. Okay. So the definition of embodiment is a tangible or visible form of an idea, quality, or feeling. Okay. Yeah, that's all right. I also like this one. Someone or something that is a representative or example of a quality, idea, etc. Okay, so that's the nerdy textbook definition of embodiment. In the metaphysical realm, in the witchy realm, embodiment is deep integration of one's physical, emotional, and spiritual self being fully present in the body. Okay, so what this means, embodiment, is that you know who you are, who you want to be, and what energy encompasses that. And you choose that energy every day, or every moment, or every time a decision comes up, okay? I chose embodiment this year for my word of the year because for me, last year's word was sovereignty, which is reclaiming and standing in your own power. And I will say that I went over it in what 2025 taught me. I had a roller coaster of a year with my anxiety, with business things, with all kinds of stuff. So now looking back, I fucking beasted sovereignty. Okay. I rode this roller coaster of fucked upness through massive panic attacks, which, by the way, I had one on the way out to North Carolina. Our first night in a hotel, I had a massive panic attack that I have not had in months because I was refusing to really look at the emotions coming up with us driving 3 days to the East Coast to spend 4 days to then turn around and drive 3 days back. There were some parts of it that I didn't want to admit. I wanted to just be excited and just be, yes, I'm doing this. This is so great. But in doing that and not being real with myself, it built up. And our first night in a hotel, massive panic attack. One that Colin had to literally hold me until I cried myself to sleep. And then I woke up every 45 minutes from that point for the entire rest of the night. And had to, what I did, honestly, like just being completely honest with you all, part of this panic attack that I had was because I had just launched the Feral Witch embodiment, or I knew that was coming up. It was coming up the next week. I was getting ready to launch the Feral Witch energy embodiment activation. And I remember sitting there and my anxiety, if you have anxiety, your anxiety tells you bullshit. It tells you lies, but then it causes a physiological response within you. And so my anxiety was literally telling me, like, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are driving across country and having adventures? You don't do this. You stay at home. You work. This is all you do. You're not this person. And then it went one step further. It was like as the panic was building in me, because I started to believe what my anxiety was telling me. Like here I was, quote unquote, stranded in Abilene, Texas, 12 hours from home, 24 hours from my sister. Like, who was I to do this? This was so stupid. I should just be sitting in my recliner watching holiday movies right now. And as I started to believe what the anxiety was telling me, I then realized, oh my God, I have a feral witch energy embodiment activation that I'm launching in the next couple of days. And I'm sitting here having a panic attack, which is not feral at all. Like I'm an imposter. So then imposter syndrome kicked in. But one of the things that I teach in that class is to get out of your head and drop into your body. Out of your head, drop into your body. Anxiety is a head disorder. You're constantly in your head. And the racing thoughts, all of that, and then they all happen in your head, and then they physiologically will produce the stuff in your body that to where you will end up having a physical reaction, but it starts in your head, it starts in your mind. So that was actually the only thing that when I woke up every 45 minutes, in panic, sure, because the stuff had just built up and woke me up. The endorphins, the cortisol, like all of it. And I woke up and my stomach was hurting or whatever. I took that thing. I was like, I'm such an imposter putting out a feral witch embodiment, energy embodiment course when I'm having a panic attack, that I was like, no, what do I say in that? Get out of your head into your body. So I would literally sit there and repeat. I would take deep breaths. And I would say, out of my head into my body. Where is my body? My body is safe. I am calm. I am laying in a bed. My husband is laying next to me. I am safe. And I would breathe, deep breathe into my body, and I would fall right back asleep immediately. And then 45 minutes to an hour later, just everything in my system would wake me back up, and I would start with the racing thoughts, and then I would say, nope, get out of my head and into my body. So at that moment, I didn't feel like an imposter anymore. I was living what I was teaching in that course. And I was embodying, I was doing the practices that I was teaching people in that class. And I was very proud of myself, actually, because look, anxiety happens, shit happens. But embodiment is coming back to who you are, who you know yourself to be truly. And it's coming back to that every time. It doesn't matter if you get tripped up. It doesn't matter what happens. It's the conscious decision to bring yourself back to who you know you truly are on the inside, regardless of what's happening outside of you, regardless of anxiety telling you lies. That's what embodiment is, okay? And that was a massive side tangent that's not on my list. So I do have to see where I'm at in my notes. Okay, so last year's word was sovereignty, which is reclaiming and standing in my power, and I beasted it, okay? So for me, the next step after sovereignty is embodiment. I have now stood in my power. I have reclaimed my power, and I'm standing in it. So now it's time for me to embody it every day or every moment consciously. So that is why I chose embodiment. Embodiment of this energy, this reclaimed, powerful sovereignty. It is connection of my mind, body, and soul, and fully embracing my authenticity and my energy, okay? So, as I'm going through this shit, the weekend of last weekend, the weekend of the 3rd and the 4th, I want to share with you all the 5 things that I ended up doing immediately that weekend, which go along with embodiment, okay? Number 1, I revamped some landing pages on my website and finished up some work I had started in the Ink Spirit Coven. So the Ink Spirit Coven is my place, okay? I'm just going to say it as it is. It's my place. I created it. I created it because I couldn't find another online space that did what I wanted it to do. I didn't find another online space that provided what I knew needed to be provided for people. So I just created it. That's how I do most things, is I go searching for something and then somebody hasn't done it or they haven't done it quote unquote correctly. So then I just do it myself. That's the story of my Aquarian life. Anyway, but the coven is an oasis for me. Okay. So as this word embodiment ran through my head, I asked myself, where am I not embodying the energy I want to be embodying in my business, in my life. And the first thing that came up was the coven. From this standpoint, okay, the coven is my sacred space. And I'll go into this in a little bit. I want to be inclusive of all people. I 100%. I want the coven to be a safe space that is inclusive of all people. Okay, all people on their witchy journeys. But I was denying something by saying this, okay? I have pet peeves. And by putting on a smiling face here on the podcast, or when I talk on social media about the coven and saying we are all inclusive and we welcome people, we welcome witches on all walks of life, I realized that over the years, there have been some things that have been shown to me that I'm like, I don't want you in my coven, okay? And I'm going to share them now. These were things I was denying, okay? And embodying your authentic, true energy means accepting or admitting to things you do not want to admit so that you can clarify the information. And then if you know what you don't want, it helps you clarify what you do want, okay? So I'm going to state these out loud. I don't like armchair witches. I don't like them. I don't like the people that read book after book after book after book, but never practice magic. I don't like them. And I don't want them in my coven. I'm so sorry. I don't. I want people in the coven that want to do the work. Okay. I want people that are excited. They became a witch because they could do shit with it. Not read 17 million books, regurgitate the information on social media, and never practice anything. Okay. I hate armchair witches. I can't. Somebody said that phrase to me as a comment of one of my social media videos. And it was a video about the coven or something. And they said in the comments, sometimes you're armchair witches and that's fine too. No, I don't like an armchair witch. I'm going to admit it now. If you are book smart when it comes to magic, but you've never done a spell or a ritual or taken a chance in your life, fuck it. No. And you don't want to. That's the thing. If you want to do these things, if you know all the knowledge and you're finally ready to take the step, we'll get to that. I love those people. But the ones that are perfectly fine just sitting in their chair, never practicing magic, but you call yourself a witch? Like, why? Why do you call yourself a witch if you don't ever do anything with it? Okay? I don't like armchair witches. I also don't like people bouncing in and out of the coven. I don't like it at all. I don't like it. It causes inconsistency, but it also, like if you're bouncing, like, oh, I have $30 this month, let me go join the coven. And then you're like, oh, I don't have $30, let me cancel. And then a couple of months goes by, you're like, oh, I have $30 again, let me. It creates inconsistency with yourself. You have programmed yourself to say, it's fine if I bounce around one way or another instead of finding a permanent solution to money issues or a permanent solution to motivation or a permanent, you're not showing up for yourself. You're allowing yourself to just kind of go every which way you want to. And I don't want my coven used as collateral, or I don't want my coven to be a collateral damage to you. Okay. I do understand shit happening 100%. In fact, I don't want people reaching out to me to say, oh, I have this and I have that. We have several members of the coven that have not paid in forever because they were active members of the coven. They attended classes, they attended workshops, they attended sacred spaces, and life hit them with some fucked up bullshit and they canceled their membership. And I reached out to them and said, no, you're going to stay if you want to stay. And all of them, the people that are in there for free have told me, thank you so much. This was the hardest decision that I had to make, but shit happened. Shit got real in life and I had to cut the expense out. And I said, no, you are an active member. You are doing the work. You are here. You are the type of person I created the coven for. You're going to stay. Okay. When you can financially afford it, hit me up. Let me know. But until then, you're going to stay because you're doing the work. So this is not a money thing. Okay. This is not I'm pissed off that people have shit happen in their life and they have to cancel the coven. No. But if I don't know who you are, if I've never seen you in a class, I've never seen you participate on Circle, and you're bouncing in and out of my coven every time you get $30, it creates a pain point for me, something I don't want anymore. Okay. And that goes along with declines. I'm not a fan of declines. Like when people's card decline, I know, again, shit happens, but like we have people that join for 1 month and like they join and then their card goes to get charged for their second month, and they decline and they don't fix it, and I never hear from them again. Like, okay, all right. So what that taught me, I know, I'm probably just sounded like a bitch to a lot of people, but for those who get me, you're like, nah, girl, I understand that too. It's about setting boundaries, which is another part of embodiment. Okay. You have to set boundaries. But what this did is by me figuring out my pet peeves that I've never wanted to admit, I wanted to be inclusive of everyone. By me not identifying the people that I didn't want in my coven, it means I wasn't clarifying who I did want in my coven either, okay? These are the people I love, witches who actively do the work to improve their lives, mindset, or whatever, regardless of income, okay? I have had people reach out to me because the podcast, which is completely free, has changed their life. And they're not in a place right now financially to join the coven. And that's okay. I completely understand that. You're doing the work. You're taking a free resource and you're making the most out of it. And I know that when things align for you to be able to join the coven, you're going to be there. You're going to be in it. You're going to be doing the work. And that's what I love. Okay. And that's how I am. I do still have weird money things with myself, but I will take the free route with a person who I just find on social media. I will take the free route with them as far as I can take it to see how much I get out of it. Because I know if I'm going to get stuff out of your free stuff, if I'm going to do the work and I'm going to get stuff out of your free stuff, I'm going to get even more out of your paid content. Okay? That's me personally. So I know there's a lot of other people like that too. So that's one thing this is regardless of income. It's not an income thing at all. I love witches who actively do the work. I love witches who show up. They show up for themselves. They show up for their coven members. They build that trust with themselves. They build that trust with our coven members. You know, I love people who want to be part of something bigger. And I don't mean just the coven. I mean bigger, humanitarian level. You know that there's something bigger out there and you want to be a part of it, even if it's just a small little wheel or cog in the whole system. You want to be a part of something bigger. You know, I love those people. And I love people who have a positive mindset, okay? Just like I said before, you may not have, like, shit might be hitting you. Shit might be hitting you so much and you can't get on your feet. But you want to be there and you have the positive mindset and you're like, I really want to be a part of it. I want to do the work, but I just can't financially right now. I love those people. Okay. I'm not judging you if you can't afford $30 a month, but I am judging you if you're an Eeyore person who constantly like always has something going wrong and you always are in that Eeyore cloud mindset. That's what I call it. You know, nothing ever goes my way. Am I doing anything right? Can I do anything right at all? Woe is me. I cannot stand those type of people. That's not in my life in general. I do not understand people that do not want better for themselves. And that's me being completely honest. And I understand that there are people from all walks of life, but I've said it before on the podcast. We have members of the coven who are in stage 4 cancer, and I would have never guessed it. Their mindset is amazing. They're upbeat. They're showing up. They are the most amazing people I've ever met, and they are facing some of the biggest shit ever in their life. You would never know it because their mindset and their energy is, I'm here. I'm grateful. Like, I'm here just to be here on earth. But I'm grateful for every moment that I get. And those are the people that I love. I love these type of people, these type of witches. These are the type of people I want to surround myself with. Okay. So that's what I did. I clarified that on my landing page. I claimed it. I redid the landing page. And I also redid the Feral Witch Energy Embodiment Activation landing page as well to make it a little bit more clear, since I designed it before my panic attack, what I taught in that class helped me through my panic attack. But that's what I decided to do. Is these were two main pieces of my website that I wanted to clarify, I wanted to add clarity to, and I wanted to claim the type of people that I want taking those classes, joining the coven, all of that beautiful stuff. Okay. The second thing I did was I cleaned and refreshed my personal sacred space at home. Yeah. My daughter came and visited in November, and my sacred space is also our craft room, is also our spare bedroom. I still had not cleaned it from her being there because we had a lot going on, trying to take a month or month and a half of work and shove it into a couple of weeks before we left to go east. Yeah. So I cleaned and refreshed my personal sacred space at home. Number 3, I got onto our team's collaboration board, and I set the fucking tone for 2026 for my business. Mood, focus, individual tasks for certain people that can be ongoing throughout the year. I said, this is what I want for 2026 for my business moving forward, and I have to get my team on board with it. We're also having a big meeting this week. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna set the fucking tone for 2026. Number 4, Colin and I meal prepped for a week, and I gathered together an eating and exercise plan that has me living healthy each day. This was a mindset shift for me. I'm no longer dieting. Fucking hate that word. That's a stupid word. So I'm just living healthy. I'm living my best self. I am embodying the energy of a healthy me. What does she do? How does she eat? How does she move her body every day? Does she meditate? Does she, do things like massages or have pedicures done? Like, what is the healthiest version of me where my body is running cleanly, smoothly, and without excess fat that hurts my joints? How do I get there? Who is that person and what does she do? That's how you embody that energy, okay? Number 5, I purged shit from my home. Yeah. If it didn't bring me joy, I got rid of it. If I looked at it and was like, this is part of who I used to be, no. Clean it out, get rid of it. This is not part of the energy I'm embodying moving forward. This is not me, the person I want to be moving forward. And I put it in a box. We have 3 boxes for Goodwill right now and 1 box for our shed. I only went through a couple of rooms, but I literally looked around. It was like I had new eyes because I went through this and I breathed and I meditated and I pulled myself in and I said, who am I embodying? What energy do I want to embody moving forward? And then it was like I opened up my eyes and saw my house with a different set of eyes. And I was like, oh my God, this thing was bought at the Dollar Tree and it's done nothing but collect dust for 10 years. Why do I even fucking have it? It has no sentimental value. It really doesn't even match with my decor anymore. And it doesn't tell a story. It doesn't make me happy. It went in the Goodwill box. So that's what embodiment is. Embodiment is clarifying the person you want to be, the energy you want to emit and attract. Remember, you're like a magnet that's forever having this energetic exchange. So if your energy is up here and you're having an energetic exchange, you're emitting amazing stuff into the world and you're attracting back amazing stuff to you. Okay? If you're down here in the sludge and you're like, oh, woe is me, nothing ever goes my way, and I hate this and I hate that, that's the shit you're putting in the world. That's the shit that's going to come back to you. Okay? So you want to figure out what energy you want to emit and attract in the world, and then choose that energy, that path, and the actions that support that journey every moment you can. When you come to a crossroads, and it can be a little crossroads, it can be like you want to embody healthy energy, you want to lose some fat off of your body. You come to a crossroads, what do I want to eat tonight for dinner? Okay, well, I've got stuff in the house to make a salad and grilled chicken, or we can just run to McDonald's. You embody the energy you want moving forward. Does that person over here, that person of the you that is living healthy and embodying that energy and is healthy and skinny and happy, did that person go to McDonald's, or did they go ahead and cook a chicken breast and eat a salad? And let me tell you, you know when you've embodied the energy when the decisions, those decisions that align with your path no longer make you roll your eyes. That's how you know. It is literally like you became a new person and you became a new person. That is literally what it's like. It's so crazy how that works. And you start to understand, like, these decisions aren't hard anymore. They're not like, oh my God, I don't want to eat grilled chicken and a salad. If you're still in that phase, oh my God, I don't want to eat grilled chicken and a salad, you're not embodying the energy, because you look at the McDonald's and your body goes, oh, I don't even want that, because you're channeling your future self who cleaned that out of their system. I hope that makes sense. But it is, you have to actively choose. Even if you don't realize that you're actively choosing, that's what you need to do. That's what you are doing, is you're actively choosing that path, that embodiment, that energy every single time. Okay. Another bit of clarity I've had over the last year and a half, but something that I'm truly claiming and truly embodying this year, is my role as a business owner. Okay, so for the first 10 years or so of owning Ink Goddess Creations, I was scared to sell. I know that sounds weird as shit. But I had this block. It was a block. I had this philosophy that, yes, I have a business. And yes, I have really amazing things that I do within the business, products, services, all kinds of stuff. But I'm just going to put them into the world kind of quietly. And if you find it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. And so it's taken me a year and a half, or it's been an ongoing process throughout the last year and a half, that what I've come to realize is that this was a result of me trying to keep myself small so that I didn't attract trolls or haters or people that hated me. I had people-pleasing issues before. I wanted everyone to like me. Yeah, and I'm saying that in the past tense because I've finally understood how toxic that is, okay? I don't want everyone to like me. I want people who resonate with me and who vibe with me to like me. I don't need everybody to like me. And that was something that took a year and a half, or over the course of the last year and a half, where I've really been doing a lot of deep shadow working. That was one of the first things that I had to tackle, and still something that gets hung up every now and again. But just like I was talking about with the coven earlier, I want to be inclusive of everyone. You know, I want all witches on the internet to love me and, you know, understand what I'm saying and resonate with me and shop at my business. And again, I don't want everyone. I want people that find the value in what I'm offering and what I put together and what I do. But that's not everybody, and it's not going to be everyone, okay? So in my mind, selling was like annoying people, okay? It was like, oh, I can't sell what I do. I can't talk about my business. I can't talk about my coven. I can't talk about this. I can't talk about that, because then I'll just be shoving it down people's throats and then they won't like me anymore. And here's the thing. When you align with someone, when you like them, you don't give a shit what they talk about. You're happy for them, you know? And that's what I had to realize, was by holding back talking about my business or not talking about my business, then I was actually refraining from not only talking about something that I am obsessed with, but I'm limiting myself and my reach out to people, to finding people who do resonate with me, you know? Over the years of having a podcast and growing on social media, I've learned that if you're listening to this, okay, we're 39 minutes into this episode. If you're still here, you want to hear what I have to say, okay? You want to hear what I'm obsessed with. You want to hear about my journey. And if you don't, you could turn it right now. And I'm never going to know. And I'll be okay with it, because for some whatever reason we don't vibe, and I'm okay with that. I don't need you to like me anymore, you know? But even if you're listening right now and you hate me and you're like, this bitch over here talking about embodiment, you're still watching, which means that for some reason you want to hear what I have to say. So you could stop the podcast, you could stop the video, you could move on with your life. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And I understand that now, and I'm okay with that. I'm not even okay with that. I'm really good with that. I don't want to be everybody's cup of tea. But for those who resonate with me, you get it and you get me. So why am I holding back for you all? You all want to know what I'm obsessed with. You all want to know my journey, okay? So in 2026, expect me to talk about my business a hell of a lot more, not only because I love what I do, but because it's my livelihood. This is how I make my money. This is how I employ my customers. This is how I employ my employees. This is how they support their families. So if I don't talk about my business, I'm hiding it. I'm ashamed of it in a way, and I'm not. I love what I fucking do. I love everything that my business does, or else I wouldn't do it. So expect more of that. Expect more, expect me to talk about my business more, because I love what I do and I want those who resonate with me and my business to find me and my business. How can I do that if I don't talk about it? So I'm not going to be super salesy though. Like, I actually did stop listening to a woman's podcast. I think it was last year, because every episode of her podcast was just her selling her services, every single episode. And that's not me. No, I'm still going to be here doing exactly what I have been doing, but I'm going to intertwine some shit happening a little bit more, okay? With that said, I do want to share some awesome shit that we have coming up. I will link them all in the show notes below. Number one, just because it's time sensitive, the Tucson Gem Show surprise specimen listing, we have tiers from $50 up to $1,000. And let me tell you all guys, right before I started recording, we got our first $1,000 tier. So excited to shop for this person, because they gave us a gorgeous list of like, I trust you, but like I'm looking to increase my crystal collection with this and this and like these types of stones. And I'm like, I have full body goosebumps right now, because that means we might get to shop in the glass cases at the Tucson Gem Show. And if you all know me, you know that I love the fucking glass cases. I love oogling them, but I never buy. So anyway, you fill out some questions like in the notes section of your order. You answer some questions like, what gemstones do you like? What do you not like? Blah, 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 blah. And then we pick out things specifically for you. It is a surprise until you get it. So it's not like a grocery shopping list. But we've been doing this for a few years now, and we fucking love doing it. Our customers have had nothing but amazing things to say about the specimens we choose for them. I do write a little letter with them explaining why we chose these. So the Tucson Gem Show, you guys, it starts next week for us. Oh my God. Like, I just need to tell you all real quick, because I don't think I weave that in here. I'm going to share just one little thing, okay? Oh my God, I'm so excited. So not only is one of our vendors here early in town, so he's already emailed us saying we can come early. We can actually come 2 weeks earlier than the sale starts. So the thing starts on the 29th. That show starts on the 29th. We can come shop with him on the 15th. I love it. Do y'all see like the little evil horns coming up? I'm grabbing all the good shit. Anyway, I have heard whispers in gem show lines for about 5, 6, 7 years now of one of the vendors who has a secret VIP shopping night. I've only heard whispers of this, okay? So I assumed it was rumor. It was not true. And I was like, whatever, because you're like, well, why was I not invited? Like, I shop with these people every year. You're like, it must not exist, because it must not exist. There's no super secret VIP night. It's bullshit. I got my invitation this year, you guys. I feel like I'm in some kind of like fucking secret society. Oh my God. We're going out at night. And let me tell you, I never go out at night, okay? We're going out at night and we get to go shop before that vendor opens to the public and everything, and it is by invitation only, so I have to like bring my invitation with me. And now I'm in like a super secret society of, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm just going to share that with you all. So I'm not going to tell you when it is or who it is or anything, because I can't. I'm in a secret society, and I'm not even supposed to tell y'all that, but I am, because this is how excited I am about shopping at the gem show, period. But now I get to shop. Like, the super secret VIP night is real, and I got an invitation. So, okay. Anyway, I'm going to link that down below if you want to buy a tier. Again, we have them from $50 up to $1,000. But we get to shop at the super secret VIP night this year. Okay, number 2. The Ink Guys Creations box. This is another thing I'm going to let leak. This is going to be a very long episode, but look, I'm giving you all some very big behind the scenes leaked information. Like, I'm leaking some information out here. I'm going to make an announcement about this later on, okay? Because I have noticed that a lot of other subscription boxes have had to raise their prices this year or last year because of the tariffs, because of all the bullshit, because supplies are just double what they normally are, which is true. So we had a lot of talk and discussion about it. We have decided that we will not be raising the price of our Ink Goddess Creations box this year, which means it will still be $35 with free shipping in the United States. If you do a 3-month subscription, it's $99. 6-month subscription is $189. So you save even more money if you sign up for those. With that being said, this does mean that the more people have to subscribe and buy boxes in order for us to not be able to raise our prices. And if you're wondering how that is, it's about buying in bulk, okay? If we can buy in bulk from some of our manufacturers, then we get a discount. If we buy more pieces, we get them for cheaper, which makes the price of each individual box cheaper. If we have a lot of people canceling or not buying boxes, or people just, like the numbers of the boxes start going down, then we cannot order in such high quantities, and therefore the prices of the items within the box are more expensive, which drives up the price of the box, which means we can only put so much in it because the boxes are still just $35 with free shipping. So I know that things are really hard out there for a lot of people. I completely understand that. If you are an existing subscriber, or if you've been thinking about buying the Ink Goddess Creations box, please, just to let you know, your money goes a very long way, because the more people that we have buying boxes or subscribing every month, and we do have a one-time purchase box. So that's one of those things for the box. If you can only afford it one month, you want to splurge and, treat yourself, please, by all means. One-time boxes, yes, we do that. I don't have any. I know I was talking earlier about the people in the coven. No, boxes are completely different. Buy your box one month and the next month, We're doing some really fun things this year. In fact, February's theme, I'm not going to let you know, because that's not going to be coming out till after the podcast comes out. But February's theme is something I've been wanting to do for about 1.5 years now. So I'm super excited about that theme. But also our themes just moving forward. We're sourcing some pretty amazing things. And yeah, so Ink Goddess Creations box, $35 a month with free shipping in the US. So please consider adding that to your monthly, thing, just because the more people that we have buying the box, the cheaper we get the items for, and then the more you get in your box for just $35. So number 3, in the Ink Spirit Coven, I introduced paths last week. So basically, it was an idea that came to me on the trip back from North Carolina. And I realized that like we have 5 years of content, which I always talk about, like, oh, we have 5 years of content in the library. But I was like, I wonder if this is overwhelming for people. Didn't say anything about it. And then we were in Sacred Space. I was in Sacred Space at the end of December with them, with the Coven members. And they were like, oh, I've always wanted to do the lesson archives, but it's kind of overwhelming. I don't know where to start. And I was like, that's it. There's my sign. So I was like, all right, you guys, I was thinking of creating paths through the lesson archives that are themed. Would you all be interested in that? They were like, oh my God, yes. So we now have 6 paths through the 5 years of lesson archives. The first one is the beginner witch path. So if you're new or you just want to cover the basics, what it does is it's about 7 to 8 classes that you can just start. You can check them off your list. Like, oh, okay, I'll start here. But they kind of flow through a natural current through the archive. So we have Beginner Witch 2, Building a Living Practice, the Path of the Mystic, which is like divination, psychic abilities, Ritual and Spellcraft Path. So this is going to be like spell writing and how to craft a ritual, how to create a ritual. Then we have the Elemental Witch Path, if you want to dive more into the elements. And then the Shadow Sovereignty Path, which is if you want to go deep with shadow working. So the 6 paths, 6, and I put up 10 fingers just for those watching. The 6 paths are included with your membership to the Ink Spirit Coven every month. And that is in addition to us having a live lesson and a workshop and a sacred space every month. Okay, so you can choose, you don't have to do the paths. You can start at day 1 of the coven and work through. You can sit around and say, it's too much, I'm not doing anything. Or you can use these paths to weave your way through the lesson archives. But basically, if you ever have a question about any kind of magic, it's probably been taught in the Ink Spirit Coven. Let me tell you that right now. So if you are a member and you're like, what? I didn't know this existed. Yeah, when you head into the Circle app, you'll see like lesson archives, and I actually put it at the top. It says Coven Paths. And then just click on that, and you can actually just see how they're written out. So it'll say like, you know, the first one will be like spells and then followed by this, and you can do them in order, and it just creates a really natural flow through them. And then the last thing that I want to mention, I am really focusing on classes this year coming up with for Ink Goddess Creations. So I did just recently launch the Feral Witch Energy Embodiment class, which is only $27. It's self-paced. It's a video and a 15-page workbook. But in our classes category, and I'll just link that in the show notes, we also have the As Above, So Below shadow working journey that Megan Winkler and I did. That one, the feedback has been amazing on. That one's $59, but it's like a 3-day intensive into shadow working. I also have Embracing the Flame, In Bulk, Bridget, and Setting Powerful Intentions, which is only $9. It's also a set of videos and a workbook, but we have In Bulk coming up on February 1st. So this is a beautiful class to take right now to help you set intentions and work with the energy of Bridget, who is the goddess of creativity and inspiration, and to work with the energy of Embulk, which is coming up anyway. It's only $9 for the class. And then I still have in there the Pop Culture Magic class, which is only $19. Again, you get a video workbook, and that's using your favorite famous people or icons in magic. And it's just a really fun class. So right now, those are the 4 classes we have, but you guys bookmark the classes thing because I'm going to be launching so many more. And again, as you can see now, we've got them from $9 up to $59. I'm going to be doing some really high ticket ones in 2026 that I'm very excited about. And I'm also going to be launching them in all different kind of budget levels, self-paced, so that you can just start them and do them whenever you want. So that's what I have for you all today. This was a super long lesson. My voice is a little shot. But thank you all. Like, this is the energy I want to have for 2026. And I wanted to share all of that with you all. So you will have to let me know in the comments below, like what your biggest takeaway was. Anything, what your word of the year is. Like, I love interacting with you all in the comments, especially on YouTube if you watch this there, or on Instagram when the soundbite goes up. Let me know. For the Patreon bonus content, I just have a word of the year worksheet, It's just got like some journaling questions, some little fun things to help you create a word of the year. If you already have a word of the year, then it may be like a supplement one, like I did. Like I was like, oh, embodiment's going to be my word of the year. And then life hit, and I was like, we're adding rebirth to it. So that's what the Patreon bonus content is. Every week or every podcast episode, I do have supplemental energy or supplemental information that goes along with it. I will say you also get a shout out. I did not look up that information before we started. I apologize. So I'm going to have to do the shout outs on the next episode, just because this is literally being recorded the day before it goes out. My assistant is still off, so I have to edit it. I have to do everything this afternoon so that it goes out correctly on Wednesday. So I apologize that I did not look up, because I do have quite a few new members. I promise you I will do your shout outs next week. But you also get bonus content. I have 3 different tiers to my paid Patreon. The bonus content for the podcast is just $5 extra a month, or it's just $5 a month. So you can head to patreon.com/Inked Goddess Creations to see that. I also have a free tier, which gets stuff too. So all kinds of tiers here. I want to thank you all for being here, for being a listener. My podcast grew, I want to say it was like 100 and something percent, 141% or something last year. It was it made me cry. Whatever the number was. I don't think I've shared my Spotify Wrapped yet, but just my Spotify Wrapped, it made me cry. Like you all listening, watching, sharing, interacting, it is helping so much. And I am so grateful that you all do listen or you do watch on YouTube, because I love what I do. And I'm going to share even more of that in this year as well. So thank you all for being here, for giving me a platform to share my ideas and be my crazy self. And I will see you all next week. Bye.